Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, she has a heart for service, and now she's for hire. Her journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, we live in Dallas-Fort Worth, which is one of the most philanthropic communities on the planet. And we have so many nonprofits here, and many of them have great missions and ministries, but when it comes to business savvy, they may be lacking. And that brings me to my next guest, Valerie Gotcher. She's with Gotcher Consulting, and she knows a lot about the nonprofit world. She lived it for many, many years.
I did.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Okay, where did this heart for service come from? I mean, as a little girl, were you always kind of thinking about giving back?
I think it's always been there, sure. My first real job was a lifeguard. So I guess it started there in high school and taking care of people and watching over them and being the safety police on guard. So yeah, it went from there. And I initially went to college to become a teacher and changed course a little bit and wound up with a degree in child development, and then later on a master's degree in speech pathology. So I'm a licensed speech therapist.
I actually, as a kid, I had trouble with my S's, and I saw a speech pathologist as a kid.
Wonderful.
So I appreciate that. And that
We're good people.
Yes, exactly, and can make a profound difference in people's lives. You are now for hire, so we're going to pull up your website, and as we scroll down the website, let's talk a little bit more about your background and what you bring to the nonprofit arena. And I know you can probably serve for-profits as well with your expertise, but what is it about the nonprofit arena that you love?
Well, the service aspect, of course, but I really enjoy aligning where passion and strategy and a plan meet. But then not just that, but how do we move that forward? You know, a lot of people will say a strategic plan is kind of worthless. They just sit in a drawer, and I don't believe that. I believe that if you really design well your annual plan or your 3 to 5 year plan, you're not going to overwhelm yourself so much that you can't move your passion and your agenda forward.
Yes, and I think you'll agree with me. There are so many wonderful nonprofits in North Texas, but many of them just kind of start with this heart for service, but they don't have the business savvy to be successful over the long term. Can you speak to that?
Sure. I think that passion absolutely reigns supreme. That has got to come first, whether that's in your founder, your staff, or your board of directors.
Yes.
Because remember, the board of directors is there from the very beginning as well. You've got to have one per the IRS and per the state of Texas Secretary of State. So you've got leadership there from the very beginning, and the business savvy hopefully will come from that board of directors. So sometimes, you know, I might say generalization, you don't start out that way, but you should.
Yes.
But you don't always know how to form your first board, and that's part of what I do as well. I help with board training to make sure that you've got the right mix of people and that everyone's focused on the same goal.
Sure. She's probably best known for a group she founded called Bind, and we've got some video, and I want you to explain what Bind is.
Sure. Bind is also known as BIN, but I still call it Bind. There's a little bit of a rebranding that's happened because now the D, that's for Dallas. We're not just in Dallas, we're also in Fort Worth now, which is really exciting.
Cool.
But the organization is very unique. It serves adults specifically who've had a traumatic brain injury, a stroke, or some type of brain cancer that's affected their brain's normal day-to-day functioning.
And when you founded it, what was the impetus?
Honestly, I was frustrated. I was angry. I was working in healthcare and had been for over 10 years. So I worked day in and day out in a very wonderful, very structured rehabilitation setting with these patients who ultimately, when their insurance benefits expired, we graduated them. So we said, okay, now go back to doing what you were doing before. And a lot of that, what you were doing before, really didn't come to fruition.
Sure.
So Bind exists to join that bridge between what happens after you're no longer a medical patient, but getting back to being a contributing member of the community and having purpose in your day-to-day life.
And it was wildly successful. You took it from $0, right? Let me give you a chance to brag on yourself.
Well, I had a lot of help. I never will come to the table and say I didn't have a team behind me, because we started with wonderful, just amazing volunteers. I know you're out there. Over 100, I would say, at any given time that were working on different things and different projects or coming into the facility and working with our clients directly. Actually, we call them members, not clients or patients. And interns from several universities in the area, and then, of course, that board of directors that I already mentioned, and we had a full staff. So it was never just me alone, but it was a lot of work. Sure. I will admit that.
All right, well, let's talk about this new chapter in your life. So you're for hire. What's a perfect client for you?
The perfect client for me is a founder, someone who is like me, who's already got the passion, who's maybe got that small group of really committed and very dedicated people who want to see this mission come to life and who are already helping to make it happen. So I'm going to be there to help fuel that passion, but also to make sure that they're on the right track moving forward, all right? And let's make sure that we base that in reality.
Yes.
There are many, many nonprofits out there that are brand new that think that they can immediately apply for and receive grant funding, just as an example. But that's not completely realistic. And there's a lot of steps that we need to make sure are in place before we get there.
Sure. You talked about your team at work, where you have a beautiful home team. We're going to show some pictures, and you might need to explain this first one.
This is awesome. And I didn't know you were going to put this one on here until 30 seconds ago. So this is the UFO Watchtower in Colorado, and we're a family of adventurers, obviously, and the foil hats was actually my daughter's idea. So, of course, that's to protect us from the alien brainwaves that could be out there. Obviously. Yeah. That's us again. My husband and I are serial entrepreneurs, and I think it just kind of goes along with our adventurous spirit. We love to travel, we love the mountains, and we've been renovating a cabin, quite a neglected cabin up in the mountains for a little over a year. So it's another adventure of ours. And then together, he and I also run a video game publishing company.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. It sounds like you have a full life.
We do. We do.
Now, are your kids entrepreneurs?
My daughter, she does a lot of pet sitting. Yes, and she loves it. She's great at it. She even likes all the slimy caged animals. So yeah, she's got a niche. My son, he's got a lot of ideas. He's 13, she's 15, and hopefully I'll leave here with some tips for them.
Yes, absolutely. Valerie, we have just a few minutes left, so I want you to kind of talk to the founder out there who might be struggling. I mean, they're in year 2 or 3 of their nonprofit, and they just they don't know what they don't know.
Right. So I would definitely say I'm here to help you filter through the noise and really align yourself with a clear, distinct, and unique mission, but also a vision statement. And where I see a lot of people struggle, I think, is that vision statement. Where can we be and what can we be doing 3 to 5 to 10 years from now? And how can we create a plan together that really sets you in motion to get there? Yeah,
and I love it. There are so many consultants out there who have not walked a mile in their clients' shoes. So I love it that you've already done it, and your knowledge is so vast. So I appreciate you sharing your heart and your wisdom with us. We're going to end with a website, which is GotcherConsulting.com. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.